I'm now joined by Liz Havill, Business Support Manager, to tell us more about accommodation options for postgraduate students. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
So, my first question, how do I book my postgraduate accommodation through the accommodation services if I'm coming to the University of Nottingham?
So the best thing to do would be to visit our accommodation website. So it's nottingham.ac.uk/accommodation. And there's lots of helpful information on there about how postgraduates can apply for their accommodation. Also, we've got some advisors that can support. So if they want to get in touch, we've got a contact us section. Any questions about the process, about applying, or any other information that they want to ask or consider, then they can get in touch either using an online form on our website. They can have a one-to-one Teams chat and send us an email, or we've got a live chat function on our website as well. Applications open in mid-April, so postgraduate students can apply anytime from mid-April.
And what are the benefits of booking your postgraduate accommodation through the accommodation services itself?
We would always recommend postgraduates book through the University of Nottingham accommodation services for the simple reason that we've got such a big portfolio of accommodation. That's both accommodation that's owned and managed by the University of Nottingham and carefully selected accredited partners that we work with. We've got a real good mixture of on-campus and off-campus accommodation, and booking through us means that students, postgraduate students, will secure the best prices available and live pricing at that time for our accommodation.
And in terms of, where postgrads are going to live, are they together with undergraduates, or is there any sort of separation?
So we have a mixture. We have postgraduate accommodation specifically, and then we have accommodation where it is mixed with postgraduate students and undergraduate students. But what I would say is where that accommodation is mixed, we try to keep those students in clusters, so all postgraduate students would be put together in that accommodation. So although it would be a mixed site, it would be specifically postgraduate students that would be placed together.
And in terms of what facilities are available, is there catering or self-catering options, and how does it work in terms of like kitchens shared or to the students themselves?
Okay, so with our postgraduate students, it's self-catered accommodation that we offer. I would always say check our website for specific facilities that are available in that accommodation. They can also have a virtual tour of all accommodation types, so it's always well worth just having a check. There is shared kitchens, there could be private kitchens, again depending on the accommodation. So it's always worth checking. Also, we have a meal pass app, so postgraduate students, even though they're self-catered, they can download the Meal Pass app, and it's a cashless system where they can purchase food and drink on campus outlets, and they get offers and discounts that are on that app as well. So if they did want to have some form of catering that's on campus, then they could have a look at the Meal Pass app, but otherwise it tends to be self-catered.
And in terms of where students will be living, how far are the accommodation options from the teaching and departmental buildings?
What I'll say is that we're an on-campus university, and we've got that on-campus accommodation. So we've got accommodation that can be selected that's very close to academic buildings. We've got off-campus accommodation. You could stay on one campus but study on another campus. So it really is choice. So I would always say check where the academic building is, check where the accommodation is, and you'll be able to do a check on the internet just to find out what the exact distance is for that property. But everything is accessible within reason. So we run if you are further out and you're off campus, We've got the hopper buses that run between all of the university campuses, so Sutton Bonington, Kings Meadow campus, University Park, Jubilee, the Royal Derby Hospital. So students have got access to those buses, and we've got great public transport in Nottingham as well. But I would say that most things are fairly close to academic buildings, but it just depends on the specifics of which accommodation and which academic building.
And how can students find out how much each different type of accommodation will cost them?
So again, I would say visit our website, so nottingham.ac.uk/accommodation. We've got all of our pricing on there. You can filter through accommodation, so you can filter specific postgraduate accommodation, and you will get all of the licence terms. You'll get the virtual tours and the pricing that's on the website. Postgraduate licences tend to be based on 51 weeks. So it's always worth having a look at the licence term, and depending on what you want from your accommodation would depend on the cost of the accommodation. But we try to offer reasonable accommodation for most budgets. And once again, if students, postgraduate students, are booking through the university website, then they've got access to the best prices at that time.
And what's in place to help students settle into postgrad life once they're settled in their accommodation?
So once they're settled in accommodation, we've got our residential experience team that are ready to support them. So our residential experience team, they can run activities, social activities. They can get postgraduate students involved in networking with other students and making friends. And then also we've got a dedicated wellbeing team. So there's lots of support once settled into our accommodation. We've got our welcome points for our halls teams. So if postgraduate students are staying on campus, they're able to access support through our welcome points. Our third parties have dedicated teams of staff that are available to support security and residential support staff.
Liz, thank you very much for that.